So with 2023 coming to an end, I decided on my last live stream that I wanted to rank my top 10 favorite cameras that were released this year. And so without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, so 2023 has definitely been a pretty wild year when it comes to cameras, but I do have a short list. I have a short list of 10 topics, and I'm probably gonna leave something off. It's gonna make somebody mad, but I'm gonna start 10 and then work my way down. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Start 10 down. Okay. I'm going to go 10 is going to be the Canon R8. That came out this year, right? I think that's my one. I'm going to go 10 with the Canon R8. I'm going to just list off the first 5 and just knock those out. I'm going to go 10 R8. I'm going to go 9 Sony ZV-E1. 8 spot is going to go actually to a drone. I'm going to go DJI Mini 4 Pro because I think drones were important. The next one down I'm going to go is the Sony A7C Mark II. And then for that 6th place spot, I'm going to have to go with the Sony Burano camera. I think I'm just going to knock those off the list really, really quick.
I feel like that's kind of low for the Burano.
Yeah.
At $25,000.
I wasn't looking at pricing when I was thinking about these. Primarily, my main thought pattern with picking this list was like, Canon coming out with the R8. It was a great full frame camera. I think it was important for them to get started there. The Sony ZV-E1 has obviously been important for content creators, but outside of that little niche, it's not really making too many moves. I wanted to throw a drone on this list. And then the Sony A7C Mark II is actually a camera that I personally think is going to be like groundbreaking next year. I think a lot of people, especially once they get a deal, like a price deal on that camera, I think a lot of people are going to easily switch over to it because it's such a good form factor and the image and the sensor is really great. But my issue with the Sony Burano and why it's like 6 is one, because there's so many other amazing cameras that are on this list, but also
that don't cost $25,000.
They don't cost $25,000, and there's just not enough out on the Burano right now.
Yeah.
I think next year when we see some projects actually come out for it, I'll probably move it up on the list, but for right now, it's sitting at number 6. As far as the top 5 cameras for the rest of for this year, my number 5 spot goes to the Leica Q3. I love the Leica system, but the Q has always been a camera. Actually, the first time I ever shot with the Q was actually with my wife. We went to Vegas, and Leica let me borrow the Q for a while. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And I fell in love with that camera then. Still haven't bought one yet, but I fell in love with that camera. But the Q3, I think, was a huge step forward for them because it not only introduced like a slight swivel screen, which is definitely necessary today, but it also improved the autofocus. It gave it some decent video specs. And so for a Leica camera, I think the Q3 is definitely going to be right on my list. And so that's number 5. Now, number 4, I think is actually going to I think number 4 is going to piss a lot of people off, if I'm being honest. But the number 4 spot actually goes to the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I had to do it, Drew.
Hot take. Well, hey, the reality is, when did it drop? It dropped this fall.
Yeah.
Man, it hit the internet by storm.
Yeah, I mean, if you go on YouTube, you'll see every video about the iPhone is just blowing up. And I think it's just because it's a camera that everybody's going to need to use at some point. So yeah, so that's at least my take on it. But that's my number 4 spot. So now let's hop into the top 3 cameras. And I know these next 3, they're going to move around and they're going to be in different people's lists. But I think these top 3, honestly, any one of them could have been number 1. But for me, number 3 is... Okay, now really quick, I just want to interrupt this video quickly to thank this video's sponsor, Uscreen. Now, if you are a professional creator, you probably have dabbled in the world of trying to figure out how to monetize your creativity. And one of the best ways to do this is with a membership platform. With a membership platform, you can sell your video content, whether that's education or entertainment, and you can do it on a membership style, sort of like Netflix. The best part about using a platform like Uscreen is they make the entire process incredibly easy. All you have to do is upload your videos to their platform, and pretty much within their templates and even their apps, they do all the heavy lifting. And that's right, I said apps. You can literally do this just like I did with my platform, the Creative Film Academy. They literally took my content and then turned it into an app that you can download in the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store and literally take my membership
everywhere you go. And you can do the exact same thing with your own content. If you are interested in monetizing your content and you're a little bit nervous about the whole setup process, well, they have 24/7 support that can actually help you along the process. And you can even sign up right now to have somebody walk you through the process to make it easier. So if you want to monetize your content today through a membership platform, I strongly recommend checking out Uscreen. Links in the description.
But for me, number 3 is the Sony A9 Mark III. That's that's one of the top 3. So that's number 3 for me. I think as far as like cameras go, and like I haven't got a chance to get a lot of hands-on with the A9 III, but I can definitely say from the specs that I've seen on that camera, the global shutter, the resolution, and just like what that camera means to this industry right now, I think this is going to be a very, very important camera. In fact, the only reason why I don't think it doesn't have more hype around it right now is just because it's not available to everyone yet. But I definitely see the A9 III becoming more available to people in the future. And once people can truly take that camera out and really see what it can do, I think people are going to lose their minds.
But I feel like that being at the 3 spot, that means 1 and 2 have to be pretty amazing.
Number 2 for me is the Red Komodo X. I mean, you guys have seen my video on it probably at this point, but the Komodo X is a phenomenal camera. I mean, from someone who owns the Raptor, and like, I understand that like technically Red also released another Raptor this year, the S35, which is going to get an honorable mention at this point. But for me, the Komodo X really was a groundbreaking camera this year. It's definitely one of the reasons why it's in the top 2, because it has that ability to just be like an everyday red shooter, like the compact size and the ability to work with the IO and the different accessories. For me, the Red Komodo X is by far one of the best cameras that Red has ever announced, has ever released. And as far as I'm concerned, it's definitely one of the best cinema cameras out on the market today. So Jarrell, what do you think? What are you thinking for number 1?
You know, you putting the Komodo at 2 makes me genuinely wonder what your 1. But I don't know. I don't know if you're going to go hot take. I've seen a few Nikons in here, and I know that you love some Nikon. So I don't know. If I had to guess, I'm guessing maybe Z8 or Z9. What's in your 1?
Homie's got it pegged. Number 1 spot for me this year is the Z8. Z8 over the Z9, actually. And I'm not even 100% sure if the Z9 came out this year, but for me, the Z8 is by far one of the best cameras that I've used all year. And for me, it's number 1 because it's a sleeper of a camera. It's one of those cameras that if you don't actually use it, you'll never truly appreciate it. But like, I have used it over the last couple months. And as far as like a hybrid camera that can work in multiple situations, that gives you the most flexibility in photography and in video, has great battery life, has great image. I mean, the camera can shoot in RAW, ProRes, H.265. Like, you can get every flavor of video you want out of this camera with amazing autofocus. And a big thing that really helped it like take that next step for me is it's the first camera that I've been able to find an adapter for where I can like use other mirrorless lenses on it. So I actually found this little adapter that I can actually attach to this Nikon Z8, or I guess any Z camera for that matter, and adapt Sony lenses to it. So like, for me,
how's the autofocus on that, Brandon?
Dude, even with the adapter, the autofocus is amazing. So I know it's a hot take, and I know it's gonna make a lot of my Red fanboys like really upset, and even it kind of makes my insides turn a little bit to actually be saying this, because this is the first time I think I've ever said I'd take a Nikon over a Red in any list. But I think the Nikon Z8 for me is gonna be the top camera. Nikon Z8 over the Komodo X, but it's still it's 1 and 2. I mean, they're really close. If the Komodo could somehow take pictures, it might hop over, but for right now, Z8, that's where I'm going.
All right, so there you have it. I know it's going to be a little controversial. If you disagree with any of my takes, definitely sound off in the comment section below. Also, if you want to be able to be a part of discussions like this live when they happen, we do live streams every single Friday. In fact, we'll have a live stream this Friday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time. So be there because you're not going to want to miss it. And of course, if you haven't already and this is not your first video, definitely consider hitting that subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.